Hello, welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new here, my name is Rachel. I'm a certified yoga instructor and I specialize in yoga for chronic pain and chronic illness here at Sleepy Santosha Yoga. This month inside my membership program, we are talking about practices that help you to take your yoga practice off the mat so that the same calm feeling we experience during our yoga practice can be infused throughout the rest of our lives. So in order to help convey these concepts, I actually have a special guest here with me today to share one of these practices with you. Her name is Amy. She is an embodiment coach, yoga teacher, and meditation teacher based out of England. And she also, like me, specializes in practices for people with chronic pain, chronic fatigue, and also likes to teach practices that help with the symptoms of burnout and stress. So she does all of this through private one-on-one coaching and also through her movement and meditation classes. So I'm really excited to introduce you and for you to experience this really lovely practice.
Hi there, my name's Amy and I'm an embodiment coach, a yoga teacher and a mindfulness meditation facilitator. And I'm based in the north of England in the UK. So it's absolutely wonderful to be sharing this video with you, the Sleepy Santosha community. And I know that the theme for this month is about taking yoga off the mat. So I wanted to talk a little bit about one aspect of this, or my take on a certain aspect of this. So coming back to sort of one of the key texts of yoga, which this is the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, and there's many different versions of this book. But when we go through the Yoga Sutras, one of the niyamas, and these can be thought of as one of these sort of guidelines or these principles of yoga, is what's called swadaya. And loosely translated, this means self-study. And this can refer to the study of scriptures, so quite important yogic texts such as the Vedas, and there's others. But in a broader sense, it also means one's own self-study. So we can think of this as introspection and self-reflection. And taking this even broader still, which I find so helpful for modern everyday life, it's really about cultivating this attitude of curiosity around self-inquiry. So getting curious about our experience, about how we are, both in how we are in the world, how we are with others, and also how we are with ourselves and what our internal world is like. So I do a lot of work with people around embodiment and around connecting with their feelings. And this has been a big part of my own journey. I often talk so much about how I spent a very large chunk of my life sort of living in my head, so living from neck up, and how I think so often a lot of people resonate with this and resonate with the idea that the modern world doesn't perhaps always encourage embodied and authentic living. So we move around with so much conditioning and so much around doing and showing up in a certain way, and also around analysing and problem solving and thinking about things, which there's nothing wrong with that quality of thought. You know, it does us as human beings a lot of good. But sometimes it can be not so helpful when we do this at the expense of tuning in to our bodily wisdom. And there's so much that we can learn about ourselves through tuning in to the wisdom of our bodies. And the body's always communicating to us. But I often like to phrase it that the body communicates to us in sensation and feelings, so it's not always language. And if we think about this really practically, I think this is something that many of us have a shared experience of, and there's also common vocabulary around this. So we often have sayings where we might talk about, for example, having a fire in our belly, or having a frog in our throat. And many of us can resonate with those real physical experiences around certain emotions or feelings. So I wanted to share a short meditation practice today that's around getting curious about your feelings and how you are in the moment. It's completely optional if you'd like to do this or not, so really check in with yourself and see if this is something that feels right for you to do today. And the practice itself is a rain meditation. And this was something that's been made really popular by the wonderful teacher Tara Brach, and other teachers that were sort of in the mindfulness and I believe sort of the insight tradition, and various Buddhist traditions have brought this practice really to life and shared it with a lot of people. So I really want to honour that there and where this practice comes from. So this is a version of this practice, so my interpretation of the practice that I'd offer today. And RAIN as an acronym really stands for recognising, that's the R, what's going on for us in our experience, allowing it, so allowing it to be just as it is, and then investigating, so this wonderful quality of curiosity, or we could also think of this as this context of Svadhyaya, doing one's own self-study. And then the N is to not identify with it. So, or this can also often be used, particularly by Tara Brach, as nurturing, so being really kind to ourselves with it. And by non-identify, it doesn't mean that we sort of switch off from it or we disassociate from it. It more means that we know that a feeling is a feeling. It isn't who we are. So we are, we're having the feeling, we're not the feeling. So if you'd like to give this a try, I'd invite you to firstly get comfortable, however that feels for you. So you might want to sit down, you might want to lie down, and you can lie down on the ground or on your couch or your bed, sit in a chair or sit on the floor, whatever works best for you. So giving yourself a little while to settle, feeling free to have any wiggles or readjusting your posture at all. And if you want to move at any point in this practice, that's okay too. So once you've settled, starting to notice how your body meets the support underneath you. So getting interested in how your feet feel against the ground, how your sit bones feel against the chair or the floor if you're sitting. And if you're lying down, how the whole back line of your body, so the back of your skull, your shoulders, and various other points along the back side of your body feel against this surface. And can you also notice where your body doesn't meet the support of that surface? So where is there space? In your mind's eye, can you tune into those spaces? Can you check in with your breath? And you don't need to change your breath at all. Can you allow it to be however it is? But get interested in the texture, the sensations of the breath. How does the air feel as it enters your nostrils? you sense perhaps your belly, your ribs or your chest moving as you breathe in and out. And how does the air feel as it leaves your nostrils? So tuning in to the rhythm, the texture of your breath. And beginning at your toes, can you in your mind's eye start to scan your body, really feeling into each part of the body, noticing how each of these parts feel. So the toes, the soles of the feet, and then working your way into your legs. If you have pain in any area of the body, or if it feels too much to notice any part of the body, then know that you're in control. And your focus is really your tool. You can use it almost like a camera. So you can zoom in on things, but you can also pull away. You can point your focus somewhere else entirely. So if it ever feels a bit too much, then move to a different part of the body, a part where it feels okay to spend a little bit of time with. Or come back to noticing something that feels reassuring. That might be the sense of your breath in your body, or the feeling of your feet, the back of your head against the ground or the surface underneath you. So from here, I'd like to invite you to tune in to the primary experience or the primary emotion that's going on in your body right now. And rather than answering with your thinking mind, can you see what comes up? So you might, in your mind's eye, want to silently ask yourself, ask your body, how am I right now? And notice what comes up. It might be a particular word, tired or hungry, content. Or you may find particular sensations pique your interest. Can you stay with what's there and try not to judge it? So we don't need to label it as good or bad, right or wrong. We're allowing it to be there. And rather than moving into thought about the feeling or the sensation, can you see if you can gently turn towards those sensations, that sensory experience of the emotion in your body itself? So getting curious. What does this sensation feel like? If you're experiencing something like tiredness, how does that feel in your body? Do any visuals or images pop up in your mind? Can you notice those? Again, with that open curiosity. So investigating through the senses. How does this feel? Coming back to that sense of your body supported by the surface underneath you, the feeling of your breath in your body, whatever feels the most reassuring, whenever that feels helpful. And And as you're tracking certain sensations, can you notice what they're like? Are they quite solid or patchy? Do they stay the same, or do they change at all? You may find that particular sensations have a colour in your mind's eye. Some of them may even have a temperature, such as being hot or cool. So staying with these feelings at this sensory level and noticing it's really human. The mind might want to jump in, maybe with stories about how we feel this way or evaluations about what this is, what it might mean or why. If you find that that's coming up, can you come back to the sensory experience itself? So coming back to the body and using this to allow the thoughts to pass. So knowing that you're having a feeling, that you're having certain sensations, even if these are uncomfortable. But you're not the sensation, you're not the emotion. So for the final stage of this practice, we really want to nurture ourselves. So you may want to ask this part of yourself if there's anything it needs right now. Sometimes a self-hug can feel nice, so taking the hands to the arms if that's comfortable, soothing ourselves in that way. Perhaps it's a reassuring palm of the hand on the body somewhere. It may be a kind word to ourselves, so simply telling ourselves, this is okay, this is okay. You may even like to visualize something. So maybe having a big hug, maybe being in a beautiful spot in nature. See what visuals come to mind, what feels enjoyable. So treating yourself as you would a best friend or a small child. Speaking kind words to yourself, being compassionate about your experience, knowing that it is that, it's an experience. Things move, they change. And can you look for anything that feels pleasant about this experience? And sometimes we can find this even if overall it feels like an uncomfortable sensation or an uncomfortable feeling. And remember to only go as far as feels right for you. So everything's optional. Come back to noticing that support of the chair, the ground or the bed underneath you. Notice that rhythm of your natural breath, your support, whenever that feels right. So letting this go when you're ready. And maybe you'd like to take another self-hug. So taking the hands to the arms. If you're lying down, you might want to roll along your back or have a little wiggle, a stretch or a yawn if you're sitting, whatever feels right for you. So tuning in to any impulses from the body. Would it like a little bit of movement or stillness? And can you feel that firm support of the ground underneath your feet once more? Can you feel the ground through your back body if you're laying down or through your sit bones if you're seated? And then whenever you're ready, if you're lying down, rolling over onto one side, gently opening your eyes here, letting them readjust to the light. If you're sitting down, maybe lowering your gaze, so lowering your head, and then opening the eyes and taking a little look around the room, so readjusting to the light and the environment that you're in, getting a sense of the space all around you, the noises around you. And then if you're lying down, you might gently want to come up to seated, bringing your head up last, so use your hands for support if that's available to you. Keep the head low, bring it up last. And yes, just take some time to really feel the earth underneath your feet. You might want to place your hands on your body or on the ground or the chair, something solid. So take your time with this practice. You might want to reflect upon what you noticed, what felt helpful. And yes, I hope that you found something interesting about this practice today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for practicing with us today, and a special thank you to Amy for joining us here at Sleepy Santosha, for sharing this wonderful practice. If you would like to connect with Amy, you can find all of her information in the description box below if you would like to work with her or learn more about the practices that she offers. If you are interested in other practices for taking your yoga practice off the mat and into your daily life, or maybe right now doing a physical yoga practice isn't possible for you and you're looking for other ways to experience yoga, I'd love for you to join me in my membership program, SPOONIE Yoga Studio, where we're talking about living a yogic lifestyle this month. If you're not interested in the membership, I'm also selling this series separately, and you can find all those details in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to talk to you again very soon.